But before we do those intersections, just want to give some context and something for you to think about in terms of what does art and culture have to do with wellness. In the city of Memphis, when you think about the landscape of this city, Ekpe, thank you for doing an amazing job, a beautiful job with grounding us and bringing our awareness to our history and to our ancestors, the place where all arts began in the world, which was on the continent of Africa. And the reason that arts, healing arts, culture is so important becomes it can help us to form a brave space for Black people to heal, for us to be able to express ourselves, because we can't heal in the same spaces that we were injured in, correct? And so it's important for us to have spaces like this, places where we can come together and freely express who we are, because we are vibrant people, we are animated people, we are illustrious, we're brilliant in the way we show up in the world. And when we're able to do that, it helps to heal our minds, our bodies, our spirits, and our souls. And so each panelist today, if you would just give us your name, a brief intro of who you are, and then talk about a time when your art form has been therapy in your own life and in the lives of those around you. So I will start to my left, and then we will come back to the middle and to the right. So we're just gonna switch to mine real quick while we make that.
Thank you so much, Jackie. I'm Briana Harrington. I am probably the least artistic of all the people on this wonderful panel. I am at the intersection of like administration and arts. I work in arts funding, specifically for Black and Brown-led arts organizations. And so I guess in terms of, Jackie, what was that?
How has art been a part of your
Oh, well, so I do consider myself an amateur painter and writer, right? And so I use those forms of self-expression. I'm an only child, so if anybody else is an only child, you know that you have to be creative and you gotta get it all out. So that's pretty much my means. I found it to be the avenue that I need to release, not to hold on to things, and to be able to, process through all that life offers us. So that's my spiel. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Alright, how y'all doing? My name is King Oddy. Y'all can call me Oddy, Mr. Stateside. I like to tell people I don't care what you call me as long as you use respect. I guess for me, my music is becoming therapeutic, but before then, it was something that just kept me grounded. A lot of things happen over time and things change, people change, but I always knew my love for poetry or my expression through sound and music. That was the one thing that was constant in my life. I mean, teachers changed, height changed, everything changed. No matter what emotion I was feeling, it was happy or sad, it was something that I always went back to, poetry and music. And so it was something that's become therapeutic, but it definitely started on my journey of being grounded in my identity through my music.
Oh, I'm next. Well, my name is David Yancey III. I am owner of Ink Therapy, which is a tattoo shop in the Arts District of Broad Avenue. I am a muralist. I am also a painter, and I produce music as well. Art has been very therapeutic for me because it seems like the only thing that can allow me to be grounded, especially when I'm painting, because it's just me and my canvas, and I'm focusing on all of that intention and all of my time, and kind of just like meditation. So sometimes when we meditate, we have a monkey mind and our brain is jumping all over the place. But when I am focusing on my art, I'm really just boom, focused. And it's really helped me out a lot with depression, because I suffer from depression. And I say the same thing with tattoos as well, because it's the same as when I paint and tattooing. It's I'm focusing on the client and I'm focusing on putting the best work out that I possibly can. So that is, art has saved my life in so many different ways. And at this point in my life, I'm a full-time artist, and it's brought me a long way in my life. And I'm just so grateful for it. But thank y'all for listening.
Ashe.
Yeah, how y'all doing? I'm A-God, my real name Osaze. I am the founder of the National Juking League. Yeah, I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't juking just on the art side of things. But entrepreneurship is kind of new for me. And I made the National Juking League like out of necessity because all the indigenous talent through the indigenous dance culture that we have here is, there's no industry for it. So yeah, I just took it upon myself to build that so we don't keep getting used by companies like Nike and Red Bull who come in, give us a few thousand and dip out, you know what I'm saying? So for the next generation of children to actually stay here and impact their community and still be in touch with their community if they do excel in this indigenous skill.
Ashe.
Thank you all panelists, and Agar, thank you for amplifying that point you just made about Nike and Red Bull. If you can hold on to that, because one of the questions you'll be able to expand on that a little bit. So I'll introduce myself. I am a native Memphian, a holistic wellness practitioner. All that means is that when I work with individuals, we look at the whole person, spirit, mind, body, and soul, in terms of creating a life of harmony and healing. And so the way that healing arts has shown up in my life is it really has been a very powerful tool for navigating very difficult things in life. It's been a powerful tool for me to form community and spaces such as this one that we're in. And when I can be around other Black folks, other people who I'm aligned with, that keeps me well, it keeps me happy, it makes me feel good. And so as we continue with our panel today, I'm going to start with a question about how has your particular expression of art shown up in someone else's life? How has that brought them a sense of healing? So when you're doing your tattoo work, when you're doing your juking, when you're doing your creating, how do you see people engaging with that, and how does that help to renew them and their sense of being? So I'm going to start to my right this time.
Yeah, I love to see people feel what I'm doing when I'm juking. Usually that results in them juking as well, because it's just something you can just get up and do really at the base level. So usually a smile or, you know, in juking the hood, but the ultimate satisfaction for me is when I see that they have incorporated this into their daily life, because then it's like, wow, I touched that person forever, you know what I'm saying? So for sure, when they actually start doing whatever you do, that's the dopest to me.
I wish I could joke. I be trying though.
Right.
Man, I be trying, but no, I feel that. So for me, tattooing, oh man, to see someone get up out of the chair and look into the mirror, you get to see their confidence level like just go like skyrocket, just because like sometimes people. So I do a lot of cover-ups, and you know, cover-ups are like past tattoos that people carry, and they have some, like, they feel like ashamed because it's like maybe ugly or something like that. So when I do a cover-up especially, like this just feel like, to see them feel like, okay, I'm back. I feel like I can achieve anything. Like a new person, and you can just see them brighten up. And that's just one form. So like I was talking about before is that like I do murals, and the point of me doing public art is to make somebody's day better. I tried to do vibrant pieces that, you know, when you see, you automatically feel like, wow, like, okay, that is great. I feel like even if you're depressed or sad, when you see that, like, okay, I feel better. Like I can go throughout my day and I can accomplish some things. So I did one piece for Tyree Nichols. It's off of Jackson, close by Hollywood. And I did that solely just for the parents, because I know that the parents were going through a huge loss of their son through police brutality. And just to see how the Memphis community took that, and it just kind of brought hope. And that's what I feel like art and dance and everything else that we do with the music and things, it should just bring hope and like try to like push people to like achieve more.
So Agod and David, thank you both for sharing what you just shared, because what you're talking about is an experience where a person is able to have the feel-good hormone like endorphins flooding their system. And so when you think about arts and culture, sometimes you don't really think about that as the first thing that you would do to make yourself feel good or to experience stress relief. But for us as Black folks, that's just intrinsic for us, because we just ooze art and creativity. And so when you're able to have someone to come into your shop and they leave different than when that they came, that's a form of stress release, because that adrenaline that's there, that's cortisol that's there from them having to be pulled over by the police on the way to the tattoo shop, and they stressed as hell. And when they get to you, their bodies can't even receive the ink because they're so stressed. And so when you're able to provide a brave space for them to feel safe in, then that flood of stress hormones is able to return to normal, and those feel-good hormones can come. And so the nervous system can relax. So everything is connected. So it's really brilliant when somebody can, even me and David, we're gonna get us a little chicken on after this. He's gonna take us to the side. We're gonna get it going. We're gonna feel real good. Quick 5 minutes, that's all we need. So I will pass it over to you, Lemon, to answer that question as well. How has your work impacted others in their sense of well-being?
I think it comes from literally knowing who I am as a person and finally convincing myself I'm not the only one. And coming from that area of creativity, when I create these words into song, it's something I feel like someone wants to say this, someone feels it. So it's something that I try to be the most relatable with. But then the, oh my goodness, it worked moment is when you walk up to people and they're like, oh, can I? And I start quoting the song, like, oh, you know, this, that, and the third. And it not only again solidifies you're not the only one, at the same time it lets me know that people hear you. You know what I'm saying? They're hearing it, they needed it, or however, when they heard it, it wouldn't be on their brain or in their conscience. And so I think that's the greatest feeling I've ever seen, because that gives back to me. Like, people, I say stay sour, but to hear people say it to me is different from what I'm saying to them, because I'm saying it, but it feels so good to get that back. So it's a shared experience, but at the end of the day, keeping other people and at the same time yourself in mind helps you do that through your music or your art.
And even though you're saying you're not the only one, you were the one for that person for that experience at that time, right? And that's what makes it so yummy when you have that one-on-one connection with someone, because you were the one that was assigned for them. Ashe. Can we all say Ashe?
Ashe.
Yes. So I'm going to ask you a question, Brianna, because of the space that you're in. And we're going to talk about successful community partnerships and collaborations that have emerged from the work that Memphis Music Initiative is doing. What makes you all different, first of all? And how does your presence in the city of Memphis really support the arts culture? So what makes you all different in terms of who you are as an organization, and then what allows the art scene here to thrive because of who you are?
That is such a loaded question. There's so much there. But I think the first thing that makes us different as an organization is that we really do center creative liberation in all that we do, right? So you mentioned the example of Nike and Red Bull coming in and, like, you know, just coming in, taking what they want basically and using it for themselves. And so we kind of had an opportunity to work with a major organization, with Hershey, with Kit Kat on this campaign that we did a couple years, and we had the opportunity to change that, right, to make sure that's not what it looks like. So this kind of speaks to how our work is different, where we advocate for artists. We make sure that the rights are there for them to own their work, not the corporation to own their work. And make sure that we model all of our values in our work. So we work with BIPOC artists, we work with local artists, we have youth to inform the product that we were putting out that was representative of these different organizations in the city. So one of our biggest things is just really, in layman's terms, standing on business. Memphis Music Initiative is not, you know, the typical funder that you would imagine when it comes to arts. We, like I said, we focus on artists, artist development, creative liberation, and making sure that people and artists have the real opportunity to build, like, true economic success and sustainability from your work, from who you are. This is, your art is something that you're offering to the collective, and so we work to make sure that we, work in equitable practices. We want to make sure that the funders, that as a funder, we set a precedent for others to have, shared power structures with grantees. We don't have our grantees just making all these unnecessary adjustments and reports and just doing. That stops you from doing your work. You are the experts in what you do, and so we just come and try to assist in elevating that work. And I think that really lends to strengthen what we see in Memphis in terms of the arts ecosystem, right? We want to foster a stronger arts ethos. We want to make sure that all voices are amplified and elevated, and so that helps us to do that. People know when they come and work with us what they can expect. They know when we come in and we say, actually, we're not going for that. We're not actually here to do that. That's what we mean, and that's not going to change. And so I think that has been huge for all of the grantee organizations that we work with that trust us with their art, their young people, and their legacies through their work. So.
Thank you, Brianna. And can you highlight maybe one or two successful community projects that have evolved from the relationship with NMI, or maybe even some collaborations that you all have with other organizations that help you to support successful community projects around the arts?
There are a couple. I'll say we work collaboratively with More for Memphis, which is like just a collaborative all across different sectors in Memphis: education, healthcare, arts and culture, and that is tremendous because, again, as in the style of disruptive philanthropy that we like to perform. It is necessary to get everybody at the table. You need people to sit and make have these discussions, and so that's really been huge for us. I think another thing is just the way our grantee network is set up. We operate within a cohort, so we're often sharing opportunities for all of our grantees. We're not saying there's one event here, somebody can do this. We offer and try to think of different ways. If one organization, is doing something and we say, oh, well, we know someone else at this other organization you can work with, you need space, they have space, you need this, they've got that. And so I think that's helped us really to just try to strengthen the connection, because a lot of times in nonprofit, you see that there are a lot of people doing similar things. And while there is a need, there's also a way that we can concert our efforts just to expand our work instead of duplicating the work that we're doing. So,
Ashe.
Thank you for that. So as we continue to think about the intersection where arts and culture meets wellness, I want to ask the other artists who are here on the panel, what are some of the challenges you've encountered in terms of you expressing or people understanding that what you're doing is a form of wellness, but also that you need to be on the reciprocal end of the wellness? David, thank you for your transparency about mentioning depression. And so talk about some of the challenges you experience with this intersection of arts, culture, and awareness, and perhaps how have you been able to address them?
I really was dreading. It gets deep. It gets really deep. Like I said, the biggest thing for me with my music was my own identity. Sorry, so I'm trying not to answer too heavy on the question. Ask me one more time. One more time. What's the question again?
Yeah, just talk about some of the challenges you encountered around this intersection of arts and culture and where wellness plugs into
I think I figured it out. I'm my biggest fan, so I make music for myself, and I'm just internally grateful that other people get to enjoy it, and the reward is them feeling the same way. But the biggest challenge was being myself through my music and being truthful, and I mean, you can make a dope song, A-B form, A-B-A-B, A-B-C-D, haiku, you can make something, but when you create something, it came from the source. And that was a really scary place to go, but it's turned out amazing because one of the songs that I do have, Can I, it talks about, can I be proud of me? Can I be loud in peace? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what everybody's asking themselves, asking the world, asking each other, can I please just exist and be great at it, you know?
Right.
And I think that was the hardest part about even introducing myself through my music and locally is I'm different. I'll tell you that already. That's why I'm Lemon King Oddy. It's O-D-D-Y, but it's also short for Odyssey because that's what I'm on. And so it was fitting in, but finding how to fit. You're not supposed to fit in, find your place to fit, and that's how you know you're one of one, one of a kind, and your presence is necessary. So finding that challenge and being able to stand up to that plate and say, yes, I can, yes, I will do it, and accepting that challenge, that was part of the hardest thing for me. Because I realized, again, not being the only one, I gotta do it. You know, I gotta be able to try it because someone really needs this. If not as much as I do, probably more.
That's shade.
Yes, so we're talking about some challenges you've encountered.
Talking about challenges you may have encountered around this intersection of arts, culture, and wellness, and just in terms of you engaging with that personally, but also helping others to understand why wellness has to be an important part of arts and culture. How have you navigated those challenges that you may have encountered?
And I just made the assumption that you had some challenges that you might not have had.
Nah, I definitely had challenges. When you say wellness, you mean like just health, overall general health?
Try your wellness.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know with art, how you feel spiritually, mentally, like a lot of times you won't be able to do your best work, and also if you're not comfortable. So a lot of times people may ask artists to do things, or even to do a thing, or even the artist may feel like they need to do something themselves, but the situation makes them feel uncomfortable, or maybe who they've been lately makes them feel uncomfortable. So a lot of times we don't really take a step back to be non-performative, but I think doing it for your mental health or wellness needs to be done before you do it performatively, or else you just probably gonna dislike yourself more for giving a bad performance.
That's shade.
Yeah, you hit some good points there, guy, for sure. Yep. Because in the end, it's almost like a performance. And we have to feel good to perform. For me, my story here in Memphis starts in like Westwood, Boxtown area. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that area. But I got out the military and came back to Memphis in my early 30s. And like I talked about earlier, I was suffering with depression, trying to figure out I'm a man, I'm supposed to make a living for myself. And I came back and I was living with my family, and I just felt like, man, like a failure. And it was hard to get past that. I started self-medicating using like alcohol and drugs, and that really crippled me. It crippled me from being artistic. It crippled me from just living, you know. So moving forward and getting past that, it took a lot of self-care. But besides the self-care, it took a lot of people that are providers and that help people that deal with depression, you know, therapists and counselors and things like that. So it wasn't like I did it all on my own. Like I had got help, and I had got people that really cared for me. So with those stepping steps to get to where I am today, it's like, it's all like maintenance. It's a maintenance for me, because I've been sober now for 10 years. And thank you. And I know like this is a 420 event. I know it's not strictly centered around that, but I just felt like I had to discuss that, because for me, using and smoking and drinking, that was one of the things that held me back from being accomplished artist, or even being a good father, or not father, but a good son or a good brother, or somebody that could be reliable on. So my tattoo shop is called Ink Therapy. The goal is to provide a therapeutic experience, but I also provide a safe space for other artists to grow. So I am mentoring 6 other tattoo artists in the shop. And I feel like if it wasn't for the struggles that I've been through, I wouldn't be able to be a good mentor. I wouldn't be able to be a good person to them, to provide them a good, safe experience. And not just the people that I'm working with, but the people that come to my space for the experience of a tattoo or dealing with the art. And for this space that I have, I also encourage like live performances. I do art shows. So this space that I have in Broad Avenue is not just centered around tattoos. It's centered around that are going through things and they don't have an outlet. Like today's market, they don't have an outlet to put their work out for people to see, for them to actually talk to people. So that was the struggle that I realized that, okay, people are creating artwork, but they have no outlet. And that could be a form of depression too, because you're like, I'm making all this art, but it's not getting out there in the world. And I think that because that's something that I dealt with. So, you know, there's so many different levels on like how you can do self-care, but I feel like being able to put out the art, and then like A-Guy was talking about, like being able to take care of yourself, so then when it comes time for the performance, you're at your maximal capacity or capability to put a good performance out there.
Yeah.
Thank you all for
Ashe.
sharing so openly and so freely, because your answer was so textured, so layered, David, in terms of how your shop is just not a place where people come for tattoos. It becomes a brave space where others can elevate their gifts and their talent, which is connected to their purpose. And we can observe from some of the things that are happening in our community is that many folks are not tapped into their purpose. And so when we don't understand why we're here, what our contribution is, then we do a lot of low vibration things. And so congratulations for expanding your space, for opening your space, for others to be able to deepen into who they're called to be and to make a contribution. Because that's what we need as Black people, is a space to feel brave, and what's inside of us is going to come out. And so that's a really huge piece of wellness, knowing your purpose, having the support and the safe space in the community to elevate that purpose, and then to feel good about it. So how much time I got, Shanette? What are we going to do?
You got about 15 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So as you think about yourself as an artist, as a healing arts person, what are some of the ways in which you take care of yourself? Where do you go to have that place where you're being held, where you feel like you can be who you need to be that day, where you can say, I'm not okay today, and wherever you are, that place is able to absorb you. So just tell us one or two ways in which you are able to take care of yourself first before you go to serve others. When you think about the airplane ride, they always tell you to do what first? Secure your own life jacket before you attempt to serve someone else. And if you think about it, that just makes sense. We're about to crash. I'm giving Brianna some oxygen. I'm over here about to pass out. And she's gonna go ahead and get on off, and I'm over here struggling. But if I take care of my oxygen first, I can save myself and save her. So who wants to take the answer first? Okay.
Yeah, I say in situations like that, just walk away altogether. I've done that multiple times. Just like deleted my whole social media and just was like, forget about it. Especially if you know the amount of work you already put in to what you're doing. And especially if you know you already put it out. Like if you know you have a deep passion for it that exceeds needing to be seen doing it, you know what I'm saying? Then just walk away and just go get yourself together. You know what I'm saying? Just live a regular life. Because the artist's life is pretty much centered around what they can do for themselves and what they can do for others. It's centered around what they can do, pretty much. So I just say, walk away, go be with your gal, go be with your boyfriend, go say hey to your mama. I don't know if other artists just forget to do all these things, but like, I do. Even before it became like a busy thing, because it was just like, if I'm not working, what am I really doing? So yeah, man, go see your dad, your mom, your brothers, sisters. Yep, for real.
Yeah, I say.
That's facts. Yeah. We can get so consumed with what we got going on in life that we forget to do the simple things. I feel that. For me, I am always pretty like busy, and I do a lot of reading. So that's one thing that keeps me grounded is like at nighttime I like to read to kind of shut off from the world. But I've also designated at least try to get 2 days out of the week where I'm not working. Because like I'm a full-time artist, I'm an entrepreneur, I own my own business, and like my mind can always be in work mode. I can always be in work mode, and then sometimes it can be contradictory, you know. I could be over empowering, or I could be, you know, not the best person. So I have been on this like regiment to where I know the shops are closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Those days that I'm kind of focusing on myself, I'm grounding myself. On those days that I'm trying to focus on things that I have been neglecting, like my parents, or my father, or my family, or other pieces of artwork that are for me that I need to get out. Because, all right, I do a lot of commission pieces and things like that, so sometimes artwork isn't personal. But like I said earlier, art is therapy for me, so sometimes like it's not always therapeutic because I'm working. So I have to, set time aside for that. And meditation has been key. Meditation has been key for me. There's several apps that I use to meditate, and I also do yoga. And it's just these things that like I feel when I was in my younger years that like I didn't think were masculine. I didn't think that was cool, to go do yoga, and I didn't, I felt like, okay, people are gonna talk bad about me, but it's good for my body because I'm like always like moving, and especially with tattooing like my back and everything. So I have to like figure out things that work for me. And I'll have to say the most important thing is prayer, and not neglecting God, and realizing that I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for Him. So like prayer has been really effective for me.
Thank you. Brianna, I'll toss it to you.
And you know what I'm gonna say too. I'm gonna take it to the mat every time.
Take it to the
my
mat.
main thing is moving my body, movement, whatever that looks like, and boundaries. Those are my buddies, boundaries and movement. So the boundaries are that I have a certain way I start my day. I don't do things for other people until a certain time of the day, right? Like the top of my day is for me. And in that, I usually reserve that for movement, which for me is also yoga and meditation. I find it to be everything I need. I leave it all on the mat. But yeah, just being very strong in what I'm trying to do, why I'm trying to do it, and what I'm even doing this for helps me to keep things in perspective in terms of, my capacity. I can only do what I can with what I have, and if I don't have anything, then here we are. We all have nothing, right? So boundaries and just moving however I can to get all the wiggles and energy out.
I'm very much the same way. I have to be, excuse me. I don't have to be in motion, but I love being involved or helping or constantly do something, and you kind of jeopardize your free time because I do movies. I'm working on a solo short film actually be dropping this summer, but it's like my 5th acting project. At work, you got your job, you got your homestead, you got your family life, all these different things. You have a title or obligation or a job in that, and it kind of got me to the point where I said, what time do you have for yourself? And so I kind of like developed this little phrase where it's like find a corner in your circle, because obviously there isn't really one, but it encourages you to find, I don't care what, if you got to crawl under this junk to take 5 minutes to just be still. I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong, but whatever you are doing, you can't do it, like she said, if you ain't got nothing to offer. Like, we all could be waiting for whatever you want to do, but if you ain't got it in you, we just out here. And so, in a way, just finding my corners in my circles, you know, no disrespect. If y'all see me here, then random Oddy somewhere taking care of him, and he just needed his 5. But the major one that, shout out to Westwood, because that's where we're from. The major one is family. And I actually had to call myself out on that, because I quickly, like, I'm baby boy, not the youngest, but I'm baby boy. You know, that's a whole story within itself. So mom's worried about you, dad's worried about you, mom, everybody, I bet what he doing today? You know, and, oh man, I gotta get it, I'll check on it later, or, oh, they would just be proud that they know I'm just, you know, and it just took me so far from it to where I look back, I was like, dude, it's been like damn near a month since I've seen my parents face to face. I wouldn't want it to be like that, and I know how giddy and how childish and baby boy I get when I'm around them. I'm not King Oddy, I'm not somebody's this. I'm not obligated to do that. I can just exist in the love that they have for me. And that's been one of the major things for me when it comes to the therapy, or making sure that when I present myself to you guys or present myself through my music, I'm rejuvenated and honest.
Thank you all so much for your honesty and openness to share, because what I've heard is that, you know, as an artist, at the core of who you are still a person. You're a person first. And so making sure you're staying connected to community, tapped into your roots, knowing your boundaries, and being clear about who it is you are. You're not every other artist out there. Your calling has a specific purpose. And so those are all ways to have this intersection of wellness, arts, and culture, but always keeping your well-being as the main thing. Keeping the main thing as the main thing. So as we prepare to wrap up, our final question is, as an artist, what is one wish you have from Memphis as it relates to this intersection of arts and culture? And I want to just say Black arts and culture, because I think that's very specific. But what is your one wish for this city of Memphis? And what is one gift you wish the community would give to you as an artist? I'm going to start to my left.
Be willing to receive. If you haven't asked for help, you don't know what it looks like to reject it. And if you've never had the experience, you don't know what it's like before you experience it. So as I call myself a hip hop artist, the message is what you need, but it might not be what you're used to hearing. But I say give it a chance. Just give yourselves a chance to open your hearts to something new and be more receptive, because it just might be something that you need. So just, you know, come with open ears. And wish for me, I don't know, I guess when y'all catch on, let's just keep it going, you know, because these messages are here, the vibes are there. So I just think it's something that everybody needs to do and share.
I guess I would say my wish for Memphis, the Black artists, would really be just to really lean into this opportunity that we have to really forge the way in terms of artist development, artists, you know, creative liberation, really owning yourself, your art, really being able to stand in that. And I would love to see, I feel like Memphis artists are always on the forefront. Everything that comes out of here is so unique and so different from anywhere else. And I would love to see that be a part of it as well, for people to see artists standing up for themselves, setting their intentions, setting their boundaries, operating in a way that they want to be seen and working, and letting that shine for everyone else. And I guess for myself, I just want more rest. I want more rest for me. I want more rest for everybody. I want everybody to lay down. Just take a couple breaks every now and again. I always tell people, I mean, I work in arts philanthropy. It is serious, but I'm not a first responder. Nobody is gonna die. It's gonna be okay, right? So I want us all to have that.
Ashe.
If there was one wish could be granted for the city of Memphis as it relates to Black arts and culture, what is that? And is there anything you need more of to be supported?
So, I honestly feel like my wish is being fulfilled. And
Ashe.
I say that because earlier I mentioned that I came from Westwood. When I was down there, I felt like there was a void in the artist community. And this was 2012, 2013. So it just felt like I'm alone. I felt like I didn't have my community. I didn't know nowhere to like meet. Oh, you're an artist? You know, like that was 2012. Fast forward now to 2024, I feel like, wow, the art scene is growing and it's in a good momentum and is in a good place to grow. I feel like, you know, we just gotta constantly push it, like events like this, like Arkwings and like other nonprofits, and like I do a event called Art Bazaar, and it brings all of the creatives together so then they can meet each other. And I think that's what's important, is that we meet our friends, we meet people that are like us, so then we can grow together. It's not a personal thing, it's a community thing.
Ashe.
So I definitely feel like the wish is happening, because I've been wishing for it for a long time. You know, it just takes people to push it, and I think that's happening.
Yeah. For the community, one wish that I would hope to happen, me included, is just to have more knowledge and information on just how to practically wake up and do what you love to do every day and still be able to survive. So just more information and knowledge on how to do that, really. That's the wish I have for the greater art community in Memphis, myself included, just for everybody to know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? What y'all can give me if you see me in the street, say what's up. That's what y'all can give me, you know what I'm saying? Buy me some food or something. For real.
What's in your cash app? Which is on your head, got a page. So really quickly, if there's anyone in the audience that has a question for our panel, come on up real quickly. We definitely want to make sure you're able to tap into this beautiful space that's up here. Anyone with a question or a comment for our panel members before we wrap up? Yes, let's pass you the mic.
Thank you. So it's I guess like a two-part question. So the first part is, and each of you can answer whomever. So the first part is, when did you connect your art to healing? Like, so age, maybe it was a experience, something of that nature. And then the other part is, the other question is, what barriers did you have to overcome, just in terms of like being able to connect with that art freely? Because I know, you know, and I'm gonna go on a quick tangent, but I know what it's like to be a student, and I also know what it's like to be an educator. And so I see the patterns of, you know, repression, suppression that takes place in the classroom, and I know that also happens in the community and other spaces. So yeah, just to reiterate, when did you connect to your art, and what barriers you have to overcome to get to it?
You too, Miss Jackie. I mean, you can do that well.
So I want the other artists to answer that first, because my closing, I'm going to address that as well as my wish for Memphis. So yeah.
So, like I said, I'm in sobriety, so it happened for me when I was in rehab that I realized that this was therapeutic for me, that art was therapeutic for me. And I knew it early on when I was a child, but I didn't see it as therapy. I just was young. So the older that I got, I realized that, okay, this is what I need. This is like something I need to survive, to keep a mental, ground, to keep me grounded. But what was the other question that you said?
What barriers did you overcome to connect with it?
Oh, there's going to be all kind of barriers, especially like personal barriers where you feel like, okay, I'm imposter syndrome. like your work isn't good enough. But I just think that like you just have to constantly produce things. You gotta constantly, you know, put the work out there, and time will tell. Time will be the one that tells you, okay, this is what you need to do. And if not, you're gonna love it. It's your passion. It's something that you cannot control. It's gonna keep coming, you know. But monetary value and things like that, or like to get any type of recognition and things like that, it takes time.
Yeah, I say I fell in love with juking and just started doing it obsessively. Like I was skipping class to go in the auditorium and juke. So like, my parents was like, you know, that's killing your life, not saving your life. But like, you know what I'm saying? For me, it was more so when I seen how like the older I got, the more it really wasn't nothing to do. Like my friends was just dying and or just going to jail at like a rapid rate. And I didn't really realize that, like, I just thought it was an obsession I had, but I didn't realize that obsession is what saved me until, man, I looked around and I was the only one left, for real. And that was like 21, 22, and then I had to find like a whole new circle of like people for real.
Wow. Yeah.
I guess for me, I feel like it's always been in me. It was up to me to just accept the challenge. Like I said, I speak a lot on it. I'm glad you used that phrase, imposter syndrome. Like when you're good wherever you're at, you don't know where you belong. You know what I'm saying? So you try to find that space and that time, and it doesn't always come out how you're doing it. So I'm big on know yourself. Like do whatever you take that time to yourself.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Like people always ask me, how do I know what this, that, and third? Because I separated myself, I isolated myself, I stared at the wall. I took that time, whatever it takes to literally figure out what's needed. Supply and demand, my man. It's the same thing when it comes to creativity. You're not the only one, and neither am I. So that lets you know that there's other people who needs that supply.
Ashe.
As we prepare to wrap up, I'll just say the seed for me as the iteration I am now as a healing arts practitioner really started back in high school. And as I think about how I've evolved into the person I am now, every time I experience, or each time I experience the life-defining event, like the birth of a child or the death of my mother, or about to lose my home, whatever that crisis was, there was another dimension or intensity of my gifting that would come up, that would come closer to the surface. And so finally I was at the point of saying, hey, I'm ready to leave behind what I've known and been doing and really step into what I know it is I'm called to do. And so for me, Chance, it just happened over a couple of seasons of things happening in my life, and then just taking a chance on myself. It wasn't a leap of faith into the dark, it was a leap of faith taking a chance on me. And so as we prepare to close out, I think my wish for Memphis is that the resources, the people, the money would align, and folks would make the decision to stop referring to artists as starving artists.
Ashe.
We are abundant and spacious artists, and artists are just as reputable, creditable, worthy as a physician, an attorney, any other profession that's out there. So why do we have to call our artists starving? Because if someone can walk into your tattoo shop and leave with a greater sense of being about who they are, or somebody like me who can just maybe get a tenth of a second of a good juke in, I'm gonna feel great. And so that kept me from having to go and pay a $60 copay to sit in a doctor's office for 2 hours and get a prescription for something that has a long list of side effects.
Ashe.
With just 2 minutes of going in and sitting with you and saying, hey, I got a picture of a butterfly, can you do this for me? And I leave out with side benefits. So each one of us in this space has some kind of healing arts contribution we can make. Grandma's pound cake, the greens with the pot liquor, these are all forms of artistic expression from the Black community. And when we're able to engage with the essence of who we are, that's where arts and culture and wellness meets. Somebody left here today curious about, I wonder who my great-great-great-great-grandma was. I need to go find that out because Mr. Ekpe knew who his great-grandmother was, right? That's the intersection of arts and wellness and culture. So let's give our panel members a hand.
Ashe.
Let's give it up for the organizers of this event. Thank you all for